Hi folks, this is Karim Raouf from our IT Visualizer channel. We will continue our lab, the Terminator lab. This is the video number 43. We have been discussing in the previous video the following. I've been working for 21 videos on how to deploy different operating systems using the Microsoft Deployment Toolkit or the latest Microsoft Deployment Toolkit, and with the help of the Windows Deployment Services Windows Role feature. So we have reached a point that we have already captured an image of different operating systems like Windows 10 Pro, Windows 10 Enterprise LTSC 2021, Windows Server 2022 Standard Edition. All of these operating systems, we have captured an image of them with some programs installed on these operating systems, common programs like PowerShell 7, like Microsoft Edge, like CMTrace. So we have already captured all of these images, and the previous video we have created 3 deployment task sequences to deploy these captured images. Okay, so we have finished everything related to these tasks. We have discussed every task in details. We have configured them. So today we will see a practical video, or we will see how the deployment of Windows 10 Pro image will go, and if there is any problems we will encounter. So let's, without any hesitation, begin our video today. Before that, let me show you where we have stopped at the documentation of Daniel Brother Barbarius. So we are currently at the deploy task step. Okay, we need to deploy all of these tasks, or deploy Windows 10 Pro task, then Windows 10 LTSC, then Windows Server 2022. We can verify warning and errors and check logs, because every one of these deployments will have a log you can check. Okay, there is a folder in each one of them. So in the deployment share folder, we'll find a folder called logs, so you can check the logs in it. Okay, and this is the deployment of Windows Server, by the way, and we have one like it. Just a moment, guys. So let's continue, guys. As we said before, this is the deployment task sequence for Windows Server, and we have another similar task for Windows 10 Pro and Windows 10 LTSC. So we have discussed every line in this in these tasks. Okay, and now we need to see the real action, or the real deployment video. So let's begin. Here is the video. We'll begin first with the first section. I have already cut it to small videos. So the first video, after we have created the virtual machine, then we need to leave it. This virtual machine doesn't contain any operating system. It has already a hard disk. It is not partitioned yet. There is no operating system on it. So first thing the VM will try, or the virtual machine or the virtual PC will try to see any operating system that is available on its hard disk. It will not find. It will try to boot from a DVD or USB that will contain a media that through it can install an operating system, and the last resort it will try to check the network or boot from the network to see a server that contains an operating system and try to install it. So this is the last thing. Here it is now entering the PXE boot mode to try to through it reach the Windows Deployment Services or Windows Deployment Services server, and it will reach it. But before that, it also, or before it reach the WDS and try to communicate with it, it needs to take an IP address so it can communicate with the WDS. So we can see all of this here. We can see that it's trying to search. Here it's configuring, waiting for the uplink. Now we can see that it is, here is the WDS, and this is the boot image it will boot from. Okay, and now we need to and this is the name of the WDS server. Now we need to press F12 so it begins communicating with the WDS and download the boot image. So before it tried to reach the WDS, it should have taken an IP address. So it knows the IP address of the WDS, but to communicate with it, it should take an IP address. And this is done through the DHCP. So it already took all of this info from the DHCP server. So it went to the DHCP server, get the boot server or the WDS server IP address, and it gives it an IP address. So now we press F12, then begin the process of downloading the boot image. Something else I need to focus on here. This, by the way, this virtual machine, its firmware is BIOS. So we will find that BIOS nowadays, or most PCs, doesn't have a firmware BIOS. It has a firmware UEFI. So this will be the case today. Today we will find most of PCs have a firmware of UEFI. But because I have an operating system that depends on PCs that have BIOS firmware, so this is the case. So this case, it is on a PC or on a virtual machine that has a firmware of BIOS. Okay, so it booted normally. In a case, if you have it, or you have the firmware of the virtual machine UEFI, you will find some differences. I will explain later in later videos. You will see that it will not boot directly to the Pixie boot mode if you are using UEFI firmware. We need to make a little bit of a trick so we can make the Pixie boot enter or we can enter the Pixie boot mode when we are using firmware UEFI. So this is one note we need to consider. Here we can see that before that, if you go a little bit further here, we will see that we have two kind of boot images. We have the deploy boot image and the capture boot image. So the deploy boot image will go to the deployment share folder in the MDT and use, or go to the deployment share folder in the MDT and check the boot folder which contains the boot image. Okay, and this boot image will uh, or this boot image, it is currently in the department share folder which contains the different operating system images. Okay, if you use this one, if you use the capture boot image, this will redirect you to the capture share folder, okay, in the boot folder. So this is will redirect you to the operating system ISO images. So if you try to use different boot images, it will redirect you to different MDT folders. One, so we need currently to go to the deployment share folder which contains the images. This will be done, or the Windows images. This will be done using the deploy boot image. If you use the capture boot image, it will redirect to you to the capture share folder, which does not contain the operating system images. It contains the source ISO files for the operating system. So you need to take care. You have two things: boot, deploy boot image, and capture boot image. These two different boot images will redirect you to two different MDT folders. We need currently to go to the deployment share folder. Okay, so let's continue. Now it's loading the boot image. This will take a little bit of time. Okay, as you can see here, this is short videos because, as I said before, I have not really high hardware, so I can assign some of the hardware resources on my laptop to a virtual machine. So we will see that I am recording shorter videos because my processing power and my RAM capabilities are not that high, so I cannot record long videos because this will take a lot of hardware. So this is the first thing, or this is the first video. Let's go to the second one. Here we can see that we are now currently in we have already processed the bootstrap.ini. Okay, this is the first thing we process, which will redirect the MDT to access a certain folder with a certain credentials. Then we, after finishing the bootstrap, we will go to the custom setting.ini, which contains some details or some things relating to the keyboard that will be installed, the time zone, and so and so. Okay, and also through the custom.ini, you need to verify the task sequence that you will choose. So now we are choosing what? We need to choose the deployment of Windows 10 Pro. So in the custom setting.ini, or we are processing a part of the custom setting.ini, and then the custom setting will let us choose the task sequence and the computer details. The custom setting.ini will answer some questions for us because we have already provided the answer in it, and some are left for us. So now, after processing the bootstrap.ini, now we are processing the custom setting.ini. Some of these things, or some of the things related to installation, will be already answered by the custom setting.ini, and some are left for us. Okay, this is choosing the task sequence and the computer name. And another thing to put in mind, another section should appear, but there is a problem here I didn't notice. We should here find a section called applications. Through it we will choose multiple applications or additional applications you may need on this image. For example, maybe you need to install Office, you need to install Firefox. So here the application section didn't appear, so this is something we need to rectify or need to change or to fix. Okay, so now we can see that we are choosing Windows 10 Pro, and we see something here. This is Enterprise LTSC. We will see here that we will see the script error, or after clicking next we will see the script or script error, the error that appears previously when we were capturing an image. This, I said before, have a fix, and I have shown you all how to fix it. And actually, when I was recording this video, I didn't apply this fix. Okay, so when we click next, it will take some time. Okay, we can pass it real quickly. Okay, but it's only 12 minutes, or we have already 5 minutes. So you can see here, this is the script error, and here we can see that here is the computer details, the computer name, and the BitLocker. Another section should appear, which is for the additional applications. Okay, this was not appearing, so this is because we need to change the deployment task sequence. Here we can see this is the BitLocker configuration, and actually this should not appear as well. We need to configure it from the task or the deployment task and tell it to even to skip, so we can configure the task sequence to skip this, or skip this phase, or we can do this from the task sequence or from the custom setting.ini. You can tell it to completely ignore the BitLocker window. Okay, so now we can see that we will begin the process of the deployment of the image. Okay, we will see now that we are currently deploying the image. Okay, so we can pass this real quickly because this will not take so much time. We can see now we can see something here really good. Here it begins partitioning the hard disk. We have two partitions. First, it has already partitioned the hard disk to two partitions. First partition, it is for the C, and the other is for the D. So we can see that this is partitioning, and then after that it will begin the installation or the deployment of the image. Okay, so we can go further. Here you are applying the image. Okay, so very simple, and this ends the video. Then we can continue with the third video. Okay, we can see here that the image is already deployed. So now we will see a restart, and then we should log in to the Windows operating system. Okay, and begin the installation of some programs like Big Info and some registry keys, and on the way it will join the domain. Okay, or on its way it will join the domain. Okay, so we can continue. Okay, you can see like this here. Okay, okay, so now it will restart. Then we should see that the first thing that will appear is the welcome banner for the let's see, the welcome banner for the domain. Okay, which it's like Skynet, welcome to Skynet. If we can go further, now it's making the device ready, or it is preparing the Windows for logging in, so we can continue. Okay, now getting devices ready, okay, and then getting ready, okay, and then we can continue further, getting devices ready, okay. So all of these is getting devices ready, getting devices ready. So this is the end of the video. Video number 4, we will see now just a moment, or the just a moment section, okay, and then you will find something saying that we are preparing some important changes, and then we will see the welcome banner of the domain, which means that this PC has already joined the domain. And after that, it will log in with the local administrator account to complete the deployment process. It will begin installing, or it will begin, it will continue the task. It will continue the deployment task sequence. Okay, so we can go a little bit further here. Okay, okay, just a moment. Okay, okay. It seems we have already some time with just a moment. Okay, so just a moment. This is it, and then video number 5. Here we have some important setup to do, and then after that you should see the login, or we see the welcome banner of the domain. Okay, let's go further. Okay, again just a moment, and then we should, if we go further, we should see this is the welcome banner of the domain. Okay, we can see that very clearly. So this PC has joined the domain, and then it is preparing the windows. It will log in with the local administrator account. By the way, there is an important thing to say here. I have my default domain policy configured to rename the local administrator account, okay, and rename it to another name, either or to rename it anything other than administrator. So the local administrator account name administrator will be changed to care of, and it will be disabled. So before that, if you have a group policy like that, you should configure it not to rename the account, at least until the deployment process is finished, and not to disable it, because if you didn't do so, the deployment process will not complete. And if you didn't tell him to rename the account, or if you forget to tell him to rename the account, or you leave, or you tell him to rename the local administrator account, you are prompted here to put the password, because he doesn't recognize this new account. Okay, so if you have default domain policy to rename local administrator account and disable it, you should disable both, okay, until the deployment process is finished. Okay, so now just a moment, I need to close the this or to quit Telegram, and then this is preparing Windows. If we continue, now we should log in. Okay, now we can see that we have internet access, and the network location prompt is hidden. Okay, so we will not see it because this is already configured in the task. Okay, and then we should see the deployment task sequence resumed. Okay, so we can, or it will begin. Here you can see it is beginning the process. You will see configuring big info and a lot of things actually. So we will see a couple of things. If we go further, okay, let's go further. So we can see here is restart of the computer, and then I think after that we will see install of big info and other things. So we have a restart, okay, and then we should continue. Here we will see something that was I talking about, the local administrator. Here we will not see, it will not log in automatically. It should be, or it will prompt you to put a password, because I didn't disable the rename local administrator account, or rename local administrator account in the default domain policy. I have already uh, uh, disabled to disable the administrator account, or unactivate to disable the local administrator account. If you see this, what I'm doing now here, I am providing him, if you tell him okay, here you should be prompted to put the local administrator account username and password because, as I said before, I have already my default domain policy to rename the local administrator account. I have disabled to disable the local administrator account, but I left the rename local administrator account active. Okay, so if we see here for a moment, we can see here care of, and I can see here he is waiting for my prompt to press enter. He doesn't know this account. I should provide it to him because he thinks that there is something called administrator. This is not the case. My default policy, rename it to care of one, and I need to tell him the password, the same password that was written in the custom setting.ini. So we can log in after that, and then we can continue the task. So now we can see it will begin some actions like start menu layout. It has already installed big info and a lot of things. If we go to the task, we will see that all of these are, or let me get you the task of the Windows 10. If we go like that and tell him open, and the deploy Windows 10, we will see that now it is in the phase of start menu layout. It is now installing the registry keys that will customize the start menu layout. So we can see that before there is a restart, okay, there was a restart, all of the previous or all of these was executed. The remove network prompt was done successfully, set high performance power plan, install big info, all of this was done, applying registry keys, all of this has been done, and install a high performance power plan, install big info, add registry keys, convert to enterprise. All of these are done, even thinking time of the server. So now we are in the phase of the start menu layout. Okay, so now we can see this is the customization, or let me get like that customization of the Windows 10. We can continue. Now some workstation tweaks. Remember the step of workstation tweaks and installing VMware guest editions. Remember this step, we have done it before. Okay, make hardware inventory. I have added another extra step to gather some hardware inventory of this PC by using a script. Anyway, it didn't work as I intended. So now we will continue. Okay, we can continue the task. So it has already finished most of the task, or most of the task sequence, and it is restarting. So now we are it has already done the public.entities and balanced power plan, and now it is in the restart phase. Okay, or at finished already. We can see in the custom setting.ini we have told it after making or finishing the task, it will not enable BitLocker, by the way. Now it is restarting and it will boot again and leave you on the login screen of the domain and tell you to log in. So this is basically all of the tasks. So this task is done now. If you can tell him, or we can continue. Let me see if here we can see now we are in the domain. Now I will log into the domain. Okay, so now it has made a reboot. Now I can log into the domain. So the task was finished. The last restart means that it was finished. I don't know why I am logging again using the local account. Let me see why is that. I think there is another step missing in this section, or there is something else missing. I think it's already finished. The task was finished. The login with local account doesn't mean anything, or it's not necessary. You have already finished the task. The last restart was the finishing of the task, because this was stated in the custom setting.ini. So let me confirm that. If we go to the upcoming video, I think I will repeat the process. Now I am repeating the same process again. So I have already finished the task. Okay, the last video was the finishing of the task. We should not log in with the local administrator account, but we should log in with any normal user or any domain user. You can begin working with the PC. Now I am repeating the task because I need to have the application section appear in the MDT in the MDT window. We need to say or need to see the application appearing. So we will repeat this process. I have fixed it, and I will show you all the upcoming video where exactly you can fix it in the task sequence. So let's begin again the process. We are repeating the same process. Before that, we need to uh, choose the deployment boot image again. This is what should be done, and then we can continue. Okay, we can go like that, like that, like that. Okay, so let me show you all again. Now we are beginning the process, and you can see that the same process applies, but here there will be some differences. The same task, but we will see a change. We will see some sections that appeared. Here we can see here is the difference. Now, first of all, the script error disappeared because I have already fixed it, and now I am recording it after the fix. And now we will see another section called applications that appeared. This also I fixed it. The upcoming video I'll show you how I fixed it. Okay, so now we will choose, for example, another task, okay, which is for 10 enterprise or LTSC. It is the same as Windows 10 Pro, the same configuration. So I'm not repeating the task. This is the new task, or this is deployment of Windows 10 Enterprise, not Windows 10 Pro. So I'm not repeating the same process, but I am repeating another, or I am making another task, okay, and fixing the things that appeared or that does not appear in the Windows 10 Pro. So in the Windows 10 Pro, you should have the application section appearing. Let's wait for a moment and see if it will appear now or not, okay? So it will take some time, but you don't see here. Here we can see that it gives me the computer name, and there is the application section that should appear with the Windows 10 Pro deployment task. Here it appeared in the Windows 10 LTSC deployment task, and I show you all the upcoming videos how we fix it. Okay, so now we will leave the computer name as it is, and then we will choose some applications to install. So here we have a lot of things too. We can choose Adobe Reader DC, we can choose S7-Zip, we can choose everything we need. This should appear with the Windows 10 Pro task, but it didn't happen or didn't happen. So now we are fixing that, and we can see it is successfully working with the Windows 10 LTSC 2021 Enterprise uh, task sequence, okay, deployment task sequence. So we can see here we are uh, choosing Microsoft 365 Office, Notepad++, VLC, OpenShell, Adobe Reader DC. I think we will choose Java, maybe, and we will choose Big Info, but Big Info already, it is already in the task, so we should not choose it. And then we choose Start Menu Customization Windows 10. Okay, now this is the BitLocker. Start menu is already in the task sequence, okay, so we should not select it, okay, it is already there, or it is already installed. Okay, so now we'll begin the same process. Okay, but let me see something here. Here you will see a little bit of a difference here. Okay, this is also, this operating system, it is using, or this virtual machine is using BIOS firmware, so you will not see UFI here also. Okay, so we will see how the firmware UFI will not boot directly and communicate with the WDS. Okay, we'll see that. Okay, so it's partitioning BIOS again. Okay, and then partition 1 and partition C and D, and then it will continue. So now this is the video has finished. Now we can see now that we are in the phase of the installation, or we will continue the task. This is the installation phase of Adobe Reader, so it has already passed everything, and now it is the phase of application installation. If you try to see the menu here, we will see that we can see 7-Dep is installed. We can see Age is installed. Okay, but Age is installed by default. All this was captured with the image. And we will see later that Adobe Reader will be installed and all of the necessary applications will be installed. When we reboot after that and log in to the domain, we will see all of the applications installed. So this is the Adobe Reader DC. It is installed. Now let's go to the video after it. Now after the last reboot, now we can join, or now we have joined the domain. Now we can log in to the PC and see the different applications working. So now we can see that here is the welcome banner. So this PC had joined the domain. Now we can log in with a normal domain account and see the different things. So now we can go and log in with the domain admin account, and then let's go here. It will log in and preparing Windows, and then we will see that all of the applications that we have chosen in the task, it is already deployed. Okay, now we can see this is the VLC, so that means VLC is installed. The Active Directory login script is being applied. This is an error saying that idle log of program is not in the C partition because the Active Directory login script will point to the idle log of location. So the script, or the Active Directory login script, will needs to go to a certain location to run a certain program. So it's saying this program is not in the current location. Okay, so we don't need this program. We have said before in the beginning of the lab, this is only installed on the servers to log off the user from the server after leaving the PC or the server idle, for 15 minutes. Okay, so now we should continue. This is the Active Directory login script. If we go and continue, now let's see. Here we will open, and you see we'll see the classic shell or the open shell. It is already installed, and the VLC is installed. So this was chosen, okay, when we were using, or we were working with the deployment task sequence. Here we can see that we have two partitions, C and D. We can see that this PC doesn't contain desktop or downloads or documents. This PC only contains these two partitions and the mapped network drives. This was done by a script. Remember, we tell the script to hide everything under this PC and to leave only the partitions and the network map drives. We can see them in quick access, but they are not in this PC, okay, or under this PC. And we are now currently going to this PC. This is also done using a script. So we can see that all of the scripts that we're working with is working. This was in the task sequence. We have confirmed this script in the task sequence, and we will see also the VMware tools is already installed. So we can see all of our things are done. Okay, if you go to disk management, you will see that we have C and D partition. If we go to the manage, we will see we have a lot of things. But let me first see here. We can see that here is the classic shell or open shell is installed. We can see we have all of the Office package is installed, Notepad++. We can see that we have Adobe Reader, we have 7-Zip, we have a VLC. So everything we have chosen, it is already installed. Okay, so if we go further and see the disk management, or here we go to the setting of the open shell and choose to activate the right click option. If we right click on this, it will get this menu. Okay, so right click and it will get what we call menu X or Windows X menu. Okay, right click. So through it, this is the menu X, or let me show you all what I mean by this. Okay, this is the disk management. Okay, so if we go further inside, we can see we have system reserved and we have the C and D. We can see that the C and D are 50%, this is 300 gigabyte hard disk. The task have already 50% for the C, and the other 50% is for the D. So we can see everything in the task, it is already fulfilled. We have everything up and running. So this concludes our video. In the upcoming video, we will see how we can deploy a task without any intervention from the user. This is called the zero touch installation. So we can see in this task we are given, or we are prompted to give the PC a certain name. We are prompted to choose the task. We are prompted to choose the applications. We are prompted to do the BitLocker. In the zero touch installation, we will not do anything of this. Okay, everything will be answered for us. The PC will be given a name automatically. The applications will be installed automatically. The BitLocker will be enabled automatically. The joining the domain will be automatically. Everything will be automatically without any intervention of the user. So stay tuned to the upcoming video. Hope this video informative for you all, and thank you all for viewing. Thank you so much.